Confirmation's going great. I think they'll all pass. I think every nomination will be, they're all at the highest level. Jack was even saying, I mean, they are at the absolute highest level. I think they're going to do very well.
There's some concern about Jeff Sessions in particular.
No, I think he's going to do great. High quality man.
All right, so what can we expect for these confirmation hearings, specifically when it comes to Senator Jeff Sessions? Joining me right now, Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall and Republican strategist Ford O'Connell. Good to see both you guys. Ford, you get the Dems out there squawking. They hate all of these appointments, every single one of them, pretty much. But let me ask you, is anyone listening to them right now? I mean, are they going to get any traction in their efforts to derail?
Absolutely not. The reason is never in a million billion years did the Democrats ever think that Donald Trump would become the 45th president of the United States, let alone also control the United States Senate, where you only need a simple majority to get these folks through. This is all this yammering about more disclosure and delaying these hearings is about extracting a pound of flesh from Donald Trump. It's not what's in the best interest of America. They just want to slime Trump early and often.
All right. In all fairness, we got a Democrat here on the panel, and Leslie Marshall, you do take issue with a lot of these people. You may, but is it going to get you anywhere?
Oh, I totally agree they're going to pass. I mean, that's what the president-elect said, and I think Ford and I would agree with that. But I don't agree with the motivation here. I think that whether you're a Democrat or Republican, that you owe it to those in your constituency and the American people across the board to have proper vetting and look into the background. We know years ago there were problems with Jeff Sessions. Although those were allegations, the people that under oath testified at that time maintain now that their testimony remains unchanged. Mm-hmm. So I think that these are things that need to be brought out. And quite frankly, I think the Republicans would do the same even if the Democrats had the number of votes to easily pass an individual.
All right. So in fairness, you know, a confirmation process should be all about vetting and getting all this information and people's histories out there. But do you think it's gone beyond that, Leslie, in that this is indeed political at this point? As Ford says, no Democrat thought that Donald Trump was actually going to win, and now they want to do everything in their power to stop him from succeeding.
There are a lot of Republicans that didn't think he was going to win and wanted to stop him from succeeding that just seem to be doing a 360 lately. No, I don't think the Democrats are doing the wrong thing. I mean, when you look at some of the concerns and the rhetoric that the president-elect had and some others, and even rhetoric of the past, allegations of rhetoric of the past of some of these nominees, these are concerns for those in the Democratic Party. Mm-hmm. And that's not going to go away. This is not about being a sore loser. This is about being, look, those of you who voted for Donald Trump because of the economy, bringing jobs back. We all want a healthy, robust economy.
Leslie,
we're concerned about some of the rhetoric regarding minority groups in this
Leslie,
country.
this is solely about being a sore loser. When President Obama put up his cabinet nominees, did the Republicans stop them at all? Absolutely not. They let him go through because they realized that President Obama won the election fair and square under the 12th Amendment, and they were going to let him have his power structure underneath to put America first. And right now, you guys aren't interested in doing that. I understand there's a couple of folks here and there that you guys might actually have legitimate concerns about. But overall, when it comes to this process, when you guys are yammering about, oh my gosh, the pace of this, that is all false because George W. Bush went that fast, Barack Obama went that fast, and you don't want Donald Trump
you got to
go
get
that
up and
fast
running,
because he might
right? That's
be a
the other
success.
part of this. Go ahead, Leslie.
To Ford. I remember clearly, I'm old enough to remember, as they say on Twitter, right? I'm old enough to remember when our Senate Majority Leader said that he was going to work to make President Obama a one-term president, that he was going to block everything that he did. And
but
of course,
he didn't block the cabinet.
Regarding this, and the hypocrisy, but he blocked a Supreme Court member. I mean, seriously. I mean, if we're
he
talking
blocked
about
a Supreme Court member in an election year? Mm-hmm. Wait a minute. He blocked a Supreme Court member in an election year, which basically has not occurred since 1968?
He wouldn't have hearings, he wouldn't have meetings, and he wouldn't have a vote.
But Trish, here's the bottom line. This is all about putting on a dog and pony show and gumming up the works when Trump wants to make America better and the Democrats just can't stand it.
Yeah. No, unfortunately, it all gets reduced to politics at some point or another. And both sides, honestly, are guilty of that. And I think this is one of the reasons why Donald Trump resonated in the way that he did, because he was seen as apolitical and just the kind of guy that wants to get stuff done. I want to get to another piece of news out there right now, and that's Jared Kushner, Donald Trump's son-in-law, married to Ivanka Trump, is expected to be named senior advisor to the president. I would imagine we're going to hear some cries of nepotism on this one. Will they be able to get anywhere, in your view, on that, Ford?
I don't think they will, but I would say this to the Trump administration: make sure with Jared Kushner you dot all the I's and cross all the T's, because you have to remember Kushner was a very invaluable person to help getting Donald Trump to be the 45th president of the United States, and he's someone who he listens to and someone that both sides of the aisle respect.
Leslie?
But there are some problems here, Ford, and even though you may not agree with me, there are Republicans who are concerned too. When you're doing business with Chinese companies that the current administration has security concerns about, when you have loans and relationships with Israeli banks, when you have investors that in the past have had visas in exchange for favors, I think this goes beyond nepotism. I think this could be a huge conflict of interest, and quite frankly, I think it's also a way for his daughter to be able to advise him through her husband by whispering in his ear, if you know what I mean.
All right. Well, we shall see. I'm going to see you guys in a little bit so we can resume the conversation. Then we get a lot more to get to. Thank you so much. I do want to point out, everyone, our own Maria Bartiromo is going to be asking J.P. Morgan Chase Chairman and CEO Jamie Dimon about the Trump cabinet and much more. That's an exclusive interview happening tomorrow at 6 a.m. Eastern, so make sure you tune in. You don't want to miss it. With joke after joke after joke. It all ended in a rather self-indulgent speech, shall we just say, by Meryl Streep. I'm just going to ask, is Hollywood ever going to get it? Will they ever get a clue? Probably not. I mean, but the reality here is nobody cares what Hollywood has to say. I mean, look how much all those celebrity endorsements helped Hillary Clinton, right? We're on it. Next.
Disrespect invites disrespect. Violence incites violence. When the powerful use their position to bully others, we all lose.
You know trading because you have the
large platform. Kushner, he is the son-in-law of Donald Trump, married, of course, to Ivanka Trump. He might be preparing to join the Trump administration as senior advisor to the president-elect. We have learned that he is stepping down from the board of Global Gateway Alliance, a nonprofit group established to focus on airports and infrastructure. This all coming to us, of course, as sources are telling Fox that Kushner will be named senior advisor to the president. So watch for it. President-elect Donald Trump firing back at Meryl Streep, actress, of course, after she devoted an entire speech, her whole acceptance speech, at last night's Golden Globes to calling him out. In a whole series of tweets, Trump said, Meryl Streep, one of the most overrated actresses in Hollywood, doesn't know me but attacked me last night at the Golden Globes. She is a Hillary flunky who lost big. For the 100th time, I never mocked a disabled reporter, would never do that, he said, but simply showed him groveling when he totally changed a 16-year-old story that he had written in order to make me look bad. Just more very dishonest media. This is the tweet from Donald Trump. Well, while accepting a Lifetime Achievement Award, Streep did call out Trump's, quote, performance on the campaign trail, saying it broke her heart.
Well, Hollywood is crawling with outsiders and foreigners. And if we kick them all out, you'll have nothing to watch but football and mixed martial arts. And the person asking to sit in the most respected seat in our country imitated a disabled reporter. It kind of broke my heart. Disrespect invites disrespect. Violence incites violence.
All right. Meanwhile, Hillary Clinton getting several rounds of applause at the closing night of The Color Purple on Broadway, a much different reaction than the one Mike Pence received. Remember that? When he was at Hamilton in November? You know, the left, they can't accept this defeat. They're having a really hard time with it, and they are definitely trying to spoil Trump's inauguration any way they can. You got Leslie Marshall and Ford O'Connell back with us right now for their thoughts on all of this. And look, you know, I get it. Hollywood is super, super, super left, and they're entitled to think what they want and say what they want. But Meryl Streep really used a very large platform there, Ford, to go after Trump very directly. You know, I would only point out that at some point they ought to realize that the rest of America is not on their side, because as much as they spoke out for and defended Hillary Clinton, it really only backfired, don't you think?
Well, yeah, look, there is no single group in the entire world that has worse Trump derangement syndrome than Hollywood. The election's over. They didn't get the memo. But from a business perspective, here's what La La Land hasn't seemed to grasp, is when they knock Trump, they insult half of America. And that's pretty stupid for Hollywood's bottom line, Trish.
Yeah, I mean, you think of all those Trump supporters out there, Leslie, and I guess Meryl Streep wasn't thinking about them last night, but and she's probably well enough off that she doesn't need to think about her ticket sales. But I wonder if all those Trump supporters are going to be willing to go see the next, you know, Meryl Streep movie hit.
I don't think she has to worry about that, Trish. And unlike Donald Trump, and I've done some acting, I feel I know a bit more than the president-elect on this. She's a brilliant actress. I would say arguably one of the best female actresses that I have seen in my lifetime. And I think many people would agree with me, even those who supported Donald Trump.
Leslie, she's an actress. She's not a politician. She's not a business person. Does she have to get up there and go on and on and on about politics in that kind of platform?
This happens all the time, though, Trish, whether it's the Tonys, the Golden Globes, the Academy Awards, actors and actresses get up there and state this. And this is not a surprise. Hollywood is very Democratic-leaning forward. And quite frankly, look, I have an 8-year-old and a 9-year-old. And if they were to mock a disabled child, they would be punished for that.
Well, he's
saying I wasn't mocking. We've all seen on video.
He's saying I wasn't mocking him. Go ahead, Ford.
All I'm going to say is that Meryl Streep, just because it happens doesn't make it right, okay? Hollywood is the biggest bunch of hypocrites in the entire world. They're all about tolerance so long as you agree with their monolithic thought. And 2 points for Meryl Streep. If she's that concerned with disabled people, she should have worried about the kid that got beat up in Chicago, mocking Trump. And frankly, I'm okay with MMA and football, and I think half of America is as well.
But are you okay, Ford? Are you okay with the...
I just want to expand on what Ford's saying here, because I don't think it's just Hollywood. I think that this is the left overall right now. In other words, if you do not agree with us, you are somehow a racist, a xenophobic, you're a misogynist, you are all these horrible things. They've made multiple comparisons of Hitler to Trump. I mean, it's gotten to the point, Ford, where they're taking it too far. And for a group of people that's supposed to be about freedom, why is it that it's only about their freedom and it's only about their intellectual freedom and nobody else has the right to think anything else?
Because they're the moral guardians of America as they see it. It's not about being an actor. It's about telling Americans what to do. And they have a platform and a bully pulpit to do it. And people really need to call them out. I respect Meryl Streep as an actress. I think she was great in Postcards from the Edge. That doesn't mean I need to listen to her about morality and how people live from paycheck to paycheck in middle America that she sneers down on when she breaks into these petulant temper tantrums like this.
Leslie, every American wants what's best for the economy right now. Americans decided that Donald Trump is the best opportunity for our economy right now. You just final thoughts here. You think it's appropriate for Meryl Streep to make these comments, but is she completely, in some ways, out of sync with the people that are spending the $15 or $20 to go and watch her movies? And doesn't that speak volumes sort of about where Hollywood is at right now?
Well, quite frankly, Hollywood's not hurting. Look at the box office sales. If these people want to pay that for the tickets, I mean, it's simple economics 101, supply and demand. And Ford, you have the option to change the channel when she or anybody else on the left says something you don't like. But the thing that sets us apart from every other nation is that we can stand up and say something against our president. And I guess in this new presidential style, our president can say something back toward that individual on Twitter. For those in Hollywood and others like myself on the left, we want a robust economy. I think we all in America agree on that. But many of us, myself included, are still upset with some that are not disgusted by some of the rhetoric or actions such as she was speaking of with regard to mocking of the disabled reporter.
Okay, I said it was final thought, but I got one more question here, because Ford, some are taking issue with the fact that he's fighting her back, as Leslie mentioned, on Twitter. And they're saying that that's not presidential. Is it perhaps, though, in this new kind of world we're living in, where Twitter now suddenly matters, is he appealing to his base in a way that helps him?
Yeah, I absolutely think Trump is absolutely right to hit back on her, because I have to say this about Meryl Streep. She has an oversized and undeserved megaphone, and if he doesn't stop her in her tracks, this is how this stuff starts to percolate. And basically all the left cares about is Donald Trump being a catastrophe, not America getting back to work.
Leslie, Ford, good to see both you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Trish.
Happy New Year. All right.